In pursuit of giants, one man's global search for the last of the great fish. Matt Rigney shares his 5-year, 75,000-mile trip around the world to encounter marlin, bluefish, tuna, and swordfish. Matt Rigney joins us now on Style. Matt, this is a really cool story.
Thank you.
I think first we have to mention you're from Guilford. That's great.
I grew up in Guilford, Connecticut, yes.
And how long have you been fishing?
I've been fishing. I mean, I grew up learning how to fish in Guilford.
You did?
Fished Long Island Sound, southern Maine, ever since I was a boy, so over 40 years.
So it was a definite hobby from a young age.
Yeah.
And how did you decide to write a book?
I decided to write this book. I've been a writer for over 20 years and decided to write this book because I realized the oceans are in worse shape than we really understand, most of us. And I specifically came across these facts that the great fish of the ocean, marlin, bluefin tuna, and swordfish, the ones that I cover in the book, their numbers are estimated to have decreased by between 70 and 90% worldwide. And I thought to myself, somebody has to write a book about this. I mean, most people don't know that these creatures are among the largest fish in the sea. They grow up to 10 or 12 feet long, over 1,000 pounds. They can keep up with your car on the highway, but they're going through water.
They're huge.
They're incredible.
And it's almost a sin to pull them out of the water and keep them, right?
Yeah.
I would say. So let's talk about this trip, 75,000 miles around the world. Let's talk about the highlights.
Oh, there's so many of them. I met some incredible people. I went to Nova Scotia, Mexico, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, the Mediterranean. I spent 10 days aboard the Greenpeace ship Rainbow Warrior, fished with a bunch of Japanese single hook method tuna fishermen up in Oma, Japan, harpoon sword fishermen up in Nova Scotia. I mean, just some incredible stuff.
We're
Great
looking at
Barrier
some
Reef.
video right now. Now, I'm assuming that's a swordfish, right?
That's actually a 1,000-pound black marlin off of the coast of the Great Barrier Reef. That's a striped marlin off of New Zealand. That's a bluefin tuna caught in a purse seine net in the Mediterranean. So, I mean, the book really is an adventure story where my goal was to tell people, to bring people with me offshore, to show them the world out there. Very few of us have any idea what that world is like. And I just wanted to bring people out there and kind of introduce them to what's going on, introduce them to these fish, and tell the story of how these fish have declined. It's not just the fishing gear that we use, it's the way it's used by governments, large fishing concerns, and corporations. We can easily fish the oceans sustainably, but we've got to stay within the limits that the natural ecosystem has.
Is that a problem? People are going beyond that?
Far beyond it.
Okay.
Far beyond it, yeah.
I got to ask you here, a 30-foot whale shark. You were swimming with that. How did that happen?
Yeah, so that was one of the best adventures of the book, completely unexpected. The first trip I took was to Mexico, down at the very tip of the Baja Peninsula. I went to Cabo San Lucas. I was out fishing for a day, and the captain said to me, "Oh, look, there's a whale shark." And I said, "Where? Where's it?" And he said, "Right off the side of the boat." And I looked over and I saw this huge brown-colored field passing with giant dots the size of soccer balls, white dots. And I had my mask and snorkel with me, and I said, "Can I get in?" And he said, "Okay." Stopped the boat, pulled the lines in. I jumped over the side with my snorkel and mask on, and there was something the size of a school bus under the water.
Gosh.
It was absolutely huge. And then I realized its tail was right underneath me. It was the size of a sheet of plywood, about 8 feet tall. And this urge in me said, "You've got to grab that thing."
Oh my gosh, you went for a ride?
I reached out and I grabbed that whale shark's tail, and I went for a ride. It was one of the best experiences of my life, and it was the first trip I took. The whole book is full of experiences like that. In Australia, your chances of seeing a 1,000-pound marlin are rare, even though that's probably the best place in the world to go see one. I saw 2 in one day. One was as close enough to the boat you could have jumped on it. It was the size of a horse. The second one of the pictures that they'll put up, shows a 12-foot-long fish, 1,100 pounds. That thing was...
Is that jumping through the air?
That is jumping. That thing came out of the water at absolute full speed, 12 feet long. It flew 60 feet.
Wow.
And it hit 15 feet high in its jump.
Once-in-a-lifetime experiences that you seem to keep having, Matt.
I know, it was
Let me ask you about the prop you brought here.
Yeah, this is a swordfish sword. You can feel it. It's heavy, and it looks like a broadsword.
Wow.
It's
This could really interest someone too, right?
oh yeah, the swordfish use this as a defensive and an offensive weapon. They slash through schools of baitfish and squid that they'll eat, and they'll also use it as defense against mako shark, which is their primary predator. When you bring it out of the water, the sides of it are razor sharp. If
Wow.
they slash into you, they'll cut you. And it comes off of a fish that is powerful enough that one of the sport fishing captains that I spoke with told me a story which is included in the book of a 600-pound swordfish that came onto his boat after 6 minutes, came in the back
Massive.
door,
Wow.
put the sword under the fighting chair, and broke the welds.
Wow, that's crazy stuff, Matt. We're going to have to read your book.
Yep.
Tell us where we could find it. Is it just
Any
about anywhere?
bookstore, yep.
Great.
And Amazon, you can go through my website. I've got a Facebook page, Twitter, the whole deal.
We'll find it. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, stay with us. More Style after the break. We'll be right back.